Welcome back. In this chapter, we will briefly outline the costs associated with an IoT application, mainly for the network operator and the client. But first, a quick recap. Right, let's get into it. So we spoke about the network owner and how they basically develop the technology, which they then license as IP to would-be network operators who actually lay down the network and commercialize it. Their costs mainly involve research and development activities, as well as setting up and managing the global cloud. Other cost activities include aligning the regulatory requirements for intended client regions, as well as actually marketing the technology and the network. The network operator costs include actually laying down the network. They need sites to install the base station, so instead of buying real estate, they rather lease from existing network and broadcasting companies who already have transmission sites across the intended country or region. In a lot of instances, it's simply a matter of leasing a rack slot. The base station setup is not particularly large. Other costs include connectivity for data transfer, technical personnel to actually set up and manage the network, as well as maintenance costs that may either include a fleet for network management technicians if the maintenance and support is in-house, or a managed network fee from a network maintenance partner. The network maintenance partner would usually have a working operation in place, which they would then need to scale every now and then when adding a new partner who requires outsourced network maintenance. Lastly, the costs of getting devices compatible with the network and all the incremental product development that goes with it lie with the client who wishes to get their objects connected to the network. On top of that, they then have to pay for network license fees annually per device connected to the network. What is the return on investment for each party? Well, the network owner generates revenue in the form of a portion of license fees from network operators, as well as in some instances, chipset commission from chipset manufacturers selling network-compatible chips. The network operator charges license fees per connected object. They would then have to pay over a percentage of this to the network owner, as we said. They may also sell services built on top of the network for clients, such as data analysis capability, industry and function-related capabilities such as campaign management or recommendation engines. The network maintenance partner obviously charges managed service fees as well as network upgrade or extension fees where applicable. This refers to gap filling, faulty transmitter replacement, and such. The customer's need to connect objects to the network is usually driven by the need to either reduce operational costs related to support or device continuous improvement, or the search for new revenue opportunities such as data monetization. Right, now let's break down the costs in actual figures. We'll focus on the network operator as well as the client. Let's start with the context. So assume the intended region is a country with approximately 42 million people and 5 major metropoles. The network operator has determined that they could get 4 major clients whose main target market for devices or objects lie in 3 metropoles with a potential base of 17 million objects. Perhaps these potential clients are a pay TV operator, 2 municipalities for smart city applications, as well as an appliance manufacturer. They have determined that they would require 1,000 sites, 750 for base stations and 250 for potential gap filling in future. So we start with the site leasing. These figures are an estimation. The actual costing depends on the network owner, their intended cost to margin ratio, as well as the level of their motivation to scale their network. The next item is installation peripherals. Site acquisition costs, signal interference levels analysis, and such. Then we move on to actually establishing the network. Again, these costs are estimations. Mobile operators are usually keen to secure mutually beneficial enterprise deals to encourage long-term contracts, so these costs could be significantly lower than as quoted here. Staff and admin costs and related overheads. Lastly, marketing activities. The intended customer here is B2B, so targeted below the market activities are likely to be more effective. Now let's move on to typical client costs. Remember, we mentioned that in some instances, some device hardware architecture work might be required. This is what we're referring to here. Next, the actual IoT transceiver. And then the network license fees per device. Just a reminder here that the client would need to get their data from the global cloud onto their on-site storage and then actually feed this data into their data ecosystem to actually derive value from it. In 2020, every organization should already have a functioning data ecosystem. If your organization does not, call us urgently. Otherwise, you risk disruption or unnecessarily spending a load on managed services when you actually don't have to. The cost items related to storage and data and analytics ecosystem setup are listed here. We've only listed the items. The actual cost would vary based on the scope of the requirement. Join us in Chapter 4 when we actually unpack the commercialization business cases in figures and financial models. See you then!